Here knows each other here. Of course, you can see Joanna, Coach Trevelyan, Mackenzie, and Allison. We'll open it up for questions.
And any of you guys can speak to this. It really looked early. It's one of those things where you're so pumped. The shots are long. You just can't settle. You kind of wait for that moment. Well, okay, now we're playing basketball. But that seemed to never come around. You had to kind of fight for it. Was that accurate? And what got you through it?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle. We were definitely really excited to play. Just really a great opportunity to play on your home court. And I think that we got kind of caught up in it a little bit. I mean, we took good shots, so we knew that they were going to fall eventually, but it just took a little longer than we would have hoped for. But hey, it worked out.
But we made up for it with the other things too, like stopping on defense, and I think really staying together as a team. Like we are a family. I feel like staying together.
And it's easy to say to kind of stay in the game when you're struggling in shooting, but how frustrating is it when you're taking good shots, but they're just not going down? How do you kind of stay? It's easy to say it. How do you kind of actually do it to stay focused in that type of situation?
I'm really intrigued by the answer to this because we may need to. Very excited to hear what you all have.
I think a lot of it, like, I mean, as a team, like, we're always, like, supporting each other. Like, they're going to fall, like, just adjust, like, step in a little bit, or just really, like, focus on finishing. Like, that kind of support helps.
We're really hard on ourselves, so I think along with that, I think that we have to rely on each other to, like, get us out of our funk or whatever, and get us out of our own heads kind of thing. And then things like defensive stops and important rebounds kind of get the rhythm going too, like the other way, so that helps.
What's going through your guys' mind when Lindley's layup goes up and it goes around the rim? It felt like 100 times, and I mean, it seemed like it was up there for a long time. What's going through your head when you're watching that up there?
Please, 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 go. Go.
Did you realize at that point that gave you the lead for the first time in the game or anything?
I did. I'll answer that one. They were saying please. I knew it was going. I was already getting a drink of water. I was like, oh, that's going in. No, I did know. I knew. We won the third quarter, which despite the fact that you're still trailing. Going into the fourth, we cut 1 point off, and that was the first thing we talked about in that huddle was, hey, we won that third quarter. It was the first quarter of the game that we had won. And so then coming out, we had a little look from Matt going to the basket, and Lauren Builder rolled, got it, and she makes the bucket to make it a 1 point game. And the thing I kept saying to CJ Dake throughout the game was, if we could ever take the lead, if we could ever take the lead. And so then when we came right back, and then I knew Lindley's shot would give us that lead because we'd been waiting for 30 minutes to finally have it. So I knew it was going to give us a lead, and then you start to watch the rotation on the ball, and it fell through. It was one of those moments.
Obviously, it's been a pretty tight game, but when you get that lead, did you kind of feel like, okay, now that we're over the hump, it's kind of ours at this point when being on the home court and kind of have that momentum there?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, we took a timeout as soon as it went in because we wanted to give the crowd a chance to erupt. I wanted to give the crowd a chance to really go crazy and maybe play in their head a little bit and give us a chance to regroup and say, now get another stop. Get one more stop, and then let's grind on the other end.
I think you switched to zone late in the game there in the fourth quarter and seemed to kind of throw them off. I mean, what were you guys able to do on the defensive end to really just kind of frustrate them in the second half as a whole?
We probably should have gone zone sooner, and I was a little stubborn. But I think for one, the zone, they are a very deliberate team, and they do a really good job of running their stuff. And one of the things we talked about all week was you may not come away from film dazzled by what they run, but you will come away very impressed by the efficiency with which they run it. And so going to the zone got them out of running all their set stuff where they could grind it out and go high-low and do all the things that they wanted to do. And these girls and then their teammates do an unbelievable job in the zone of scrambling, of bumping, of moving, of talking. So our zone is not your typical stand and put your hand up zone. Our zone moves and bumps and does a lot of different things. So that was a big part of it. But the overall energy level was there throughout. We just finally were able to get those stops and get those good shots on the other end. I think that made the defense look that much more effective because we were finally putting some shots in.
Mackenzie, I think you played the last maybe 9 minutes with with 4 fouls, you might not have been on the court all 9 minutes, but you picked up that 4th foul about 9 minutes left. Did you, I mean, does that play in your head at all, or were you able to just stay in your game knowing that maybe, I mean, were you able to, I guess, stay in your game even with 4 fouls?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, the 4th foul was dumb. So I just kind of was like, well, all right, now I know not to do that again and just play solid. Like I kept telling myself, and like when we got back on defense, I was like, just be solid, because at that point we had the lead. So, or at least a few minutes in. So I was like, you know, we're in control, so I don't need to get crazy anymore. So I mean, I think that's just what helped me.
How many times have you led this team in rebounding? I mean, you guys tied for the lead in rebounding. I mean,
I'm
that's
just trying
all.
to keep up with her.
They compete for it. They compete for it.
I will say Joanna's the best rebounding guard that you're going to see. There's no question. She goes after the boards hard. She gets up off the floor. She rips one. When she rips it, you're not going to take it from her. So she's probably led us multiple times, but I know she's been right there. And she said, kind of keeping up with Al on the boards. You know, both of them get it done. And you look at when we started to push it out, it was a defensive stop, and it was one of those two most of the time ripping the rebound. But then on the other end, we also got a bunch of huge offensive rebounds, and it was the same deal. They were ripping rebounds and making some plays, so they do a tremendous job on the boards.
I thought with about 4 minutes left, you had the 3-point play there where you took it. Could you sense that we need to do something maybe a little differently? Because it seemed like, you know, nobody could hit, the threes wouldn't fall, and how many times will, you know, Madison go like that? But did you feel a sense that if I can take it here, you just taken the lead, you got a 3-point gap there that blew it to 6, and I'm thinking, okay, they can stretch them now. Did you just feel the moment, so to speak? About 4 minutes left, you took it in there, got fouled, and made it.
I just like saw the shot. Like, I mean, all season, like I've gotten shots like that. Like they've hit me in the post, and I've been able to finish and get the end one, and it just, I mean, it gives the team energy definitely. But I was just thinking, we got to score one way or another because we got to win.
Tomorrow, much different opponent, so to speak.
Yeah, very, very different. You know, philosophically very different. You know, they too bring in a very good low post presence. They bring in some athletic wing play. Point guard very, very quick, getting to the rim. Very different X and O sort of a thing. I mean, they do a lot of things going to the high post, run off of it with the handoff, which we didn't do a great job of guarding tonight, so you can imagine where we'll spend our time in the morning. But yeah, very, very different kind of opponent. Maybe a little more transition type attack than what we saw today. But a team that you know we've seen play a few times when the girls have actually seen them on film without looking at them. We saw them play Emory, we saw them play LaGrange. So you know there's a little bit of a level of familiarity and all that, but big time challenge. Quite honestly, I don't know that it matters who you play tomorrow. You're playing to get to a Sweet 16, and you know you can line up whoever you want in that slot. I know some teams like to fill their names in ahead of time, apparently, to advance in the NCAA tournament. We take a little different tactic here, but we'll be ready for that tomorrow. We're gonna go play Birmingham Southern and do our best.
Yes. I had one more. Just I think you were 13 of 15 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter. What, as a coach, does that kind of tell you about the maturity of your team in that kind of atmosphere?
We use a phrase here a lot: winning time. And when it's winning time, you've got to step up and make those free throws. You know, it's funny, 2 times when we played Piedmont, we were in a situation where we could have blown the game on out, you know, where it was an 8-10 point game, and we didn't make those free throws, and it kept them kind of in there. And so from a coaching perspective, you're not doing anything differently. I mean, you're still going to shoot them on the side. The girls have to make a bunch every week on their own. But what you saw was the maturation of, wait a minute, if we're going to distance ourselves and put a team away, we've got to make free throws. So, I mean, you do take a great deal of pride in seeing your team grow and get better, and I think that's what we did tonight, going up and making some clutch free throws there.